ITV News has learned there's been a surge in complaints about special educational needs support from councils across England. The 5 worst offending local authorities have been forced to pay more than £500,000 in compensation to families. And behind those figures are many alarming stories of how children and their carers have been failed. The mother of an 8-year-old autistic boy told us how he had suicidal thoughts and repeatedly tried to escape from school. But the school didn't help, and neither did the local authority, forcing his parents to keep him at home. And the mother of a 13-year-old girl with autism described a similar lack of help and has also kept her child away from school because of a lack of support. And a warning that this special report from our political reporter, Jasmine Cameron-Chileshe, contains discussion of child suicide.
A moment of joy in what has been a challenging few months for 8-year-old Charlie. He's one of thousands of children with special educational needs out of school due to a lack of support.
We've got occupational therapists, psychiatrists.
His parents, Anna and Ian, have been battling Surrey Council since summer last year, when their son suffered a breakdown.
He said, "I just want to die. I don't want to be me anymore. I don't want to be Charlie." And I think that's when we glimpsed how much he'd been struggling internally.
After a lengthy wait, Charlie was diagnosed with autism, but it became clear his school couldn't give him the support he needed.
We assumed we were doing the right thing by forcing him in. We had a meeting at school and they said, well, as you know, he's only been in the classroom for 12% of the time and he's been climbing the fence every day. And we said, no, we didn't know any of that.
Charlie's parents say his education, health and care plan, which outlines support he'll get from the council, isn't good enough. They are now taking Surrey to tribunal, which won't begin until 2026. By then, Charlie will have been out of school for 2 years.
We are broken, and not necessarily a word I use lightly. And we have to sort of say, like, we'll try really hard to get you into the right setting. The right setting will exist. We just give us some time.
Anna is far from alone in her frustration. The number of complaints received by the Ombudsman about SEN support from English councils has increased, from 549 in 2018 to 19 to nearly 2,000 in the last financial year. Over the 6-year period, the Ombudsman received the highest number of complaints about the county councils of Surrey, Kent, Suffolk, Essex and Derbyshire. Following upheld complaints, councils were forced to pay compensation. In one instance, Kent paid more than £17,000 to one family for delays to their child's EHCP.
Should we use 2?
It's 3, isn't it, for the recipe?
Jo, mum to 13-year-old Emily, received £600 in compensation after she complained directly to Surrey over delays in assessing her daughter, who has autism. In February, she made the difficult decision to take Emily out of school.
She would spend a lot of time in the toilets crying. She felt lunchtimes were very difficult. It's a very big school, lots of children, very overwhelming, lots of sensory overload. This isn't a case of my daughter deciding that she doesn't want to go to school and us saying, OK, fine, don't go. This is her telling us that she would rather end her life.
After the council refused to give Emily a care plan, her mum is taking them to a tribunal next year.
She'd like to follow me and be a nurse, and she's very aware that she needs GCSEs and she needs to go to college and she needs to go to university. We want Emily to thrive, and she needs the local authorities' help to be able to do that.
With more than 1.5 million children across England with special educational needs, local authorities say they desperately need more government help.
The first thing I can do is apologise that our SEN system locally is not doing well enough. Councils in this scenario are absolutely in a rock and a hard place situation, and there are really, real competing demands there between providing for the needs that we all want to provide for children and families, and then facing the responsibility of having difficult budgets to manage.
The government has pledged £1 billion in additional support, but a growing number of MPs say SEN provisions are fast becoming a national scandal.
We see it in our postbags. Hundreds of parents constantly getting in touch with it. The National Audit Office is calling for a whole system approach, and we as Liberal Democrats are calling for a national body on special needs to end the postcode lottery.
It's really important not to give up. We can't give up, because if we don't fight for our children, then nobody else will.
The government says it's committed to reforming SEN services. Yet for families up and down the country, time is running out to help their children.
Jasmine, so hard for families. What's the response been from councils?
So in response to our findings, Surrey say that they've invested an additional £15 million with the aim of improving their services and reducing some of these complaints. Likewise, Kent say they are investing an additional £2 million with the aim of increasing capacity in their SEN services and addressing some of the backlogs in the system. All of the councils we spoke to really reiterated their commitment to helping families on this. But I think it's fair to say this is becoming a real political issue for this Prime Minister. It's coming up time and time again in PMQs. A lot of this is being driven by some of those newly elected MPs. One told me that SEN provisions is the #1 issue coming up in their inbox. And I think the big worry for parents, for councils and privately for MPs is that this government, alongside previous governments, hasn't really been ambitious enough in terms of reform, in terms of increasing funding that these parents and the system desperately needs.
All right, Jasmine, thank you.